Now at 5, why Kansas Republican leaders rejected the governor's proposal for Medicaid expansion. Plus, if you're behind on your Christmas shopping, we'll have some last-minute gift ideas. And
the Biden administration's national security advisor talks to Israeli leaders about the next phase of the war against Hamas. I'm Natalie Brand with details of the next steps and how long it could last.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Republican lawmakers in Kansas reject Governor Laura Kelly's latest proposal for Medicaid expansion. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. Governor Kelly's proposal would have allowed around 150,000 low-income Kansans to qualify for Medicaid. As part of her concessions, Kelly's plan included a work requirement to receive benefits. Republican House Speaker Dan Hawkins questioned whether federal regulators would allow a work requirement to stand. Christmas is only 10 days away, and along with that comes last-minute shopping. We sent KOAM's very own Anthony Saviello out to find some inspiration for those who are hard to shop for.
This store was created for that person that's hard to buy for. I mean, this store is filled with super unique items, super curated, vintage, but this is the type of place that there's just one of everything. So if you're looking for something that's super unique for that very unique family member that has everything, we're definitely worth at least coming in and taking a quick stroll.
Now, Anthony will have some last-minute gift ideas tonight at 6. Some Carl Junction students are helping promote our Toy Box campaign. Carl Junction Junior High held a Toy Box Day during Spirit Week and made a trailer for a movie. It's part of an effort to collect at least 250 toys, which they met by collecting 252. Those toys and others in the area were collected today and taken to the Salvation Army.
My favorite part was working with everyone and kind of just like feeling like I was important because I was bringing in toys for kids who needed them.
Just seeing everybody bring in all the toys for all the local children in need, it just felt really good.
And we want to once again thank everyone who made our Toy Box campaign possible this year. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joining us.
Yeah, we've been getting the rain today, something that we have greatly needed, and it looks like we're going to continue to get the on and off showers as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Outside right now in Joplin, it's 48, 47 is where we stand in Pittsburgh, but you can see our temperatures. It's 44 Iola, 46 Independence, Miami at 49, 48 in Joplin. So it is cooling down, especially on the Kansas side. All right, look at the showers continuing to rotate through, and these are going to continue to do that as we go through the overnight hours tonight. You can see that kind of comet shape, that counterclockwise spin. That is our upper level low that is passing through. So we are going to have these on and off showers as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Of course, we're going to look into the weekend all coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. The Israeli military says it expresses deep remorse after 3 hostages were killed by what it called a friendly fire incident in Gaza. This comes as U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan traveled to the region to urge Israel to be more controlled in its bombing. Natalie Brand has additional details from the White House.
During military operations in Gaza, the Israel Defense Forces says 3 hostages were mistakenly identified as a threat and killed during fighting. The identities released do not include Americans who remain unaccounted for. The development comes as U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan visits the region, talking to leaders about the next phase of the war.
This fight against Hamas, a deeply entrenched terrorist group in Gaza, is going to take time, and it's going to happen in phases.
2 U.S. officials say the Israelis told the United States that the current phase of their offensive against Hamas, which includes heavy airstrikes, could be complete in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
There will be a transition to another phase of this war, one that is focused in more precise ways on targeting the leadership and on intelligence-driven operations that continues to deal with the ongoing threat that Hamas poses.
The Israeli defense minister told Sullivan that particular phase of the war could be a long one, lasting more than several months. Sullivan also met Friday with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, who lost control of Gaza when Hamas took over in 2007. The two discussed Gaza's future post-war, which still remains unclear. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The U.S. says it is still committed to a two-state solution with Palestinian rule, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he disagrees with his American allies about that issue. European officials arrest multiple people with connections to Hamas for suspected terrorist activity. 3 people were arrested in Berlin on suspicion of planning attacks against Jewish people or institutions, and a 4th arrest was made in the Netherlands. All 4 are suspected of being longtime Hamas members. In Denmark, at least 6 people could also be facing charges related to terrorism. Still ahead, what a new study shows about the mental health benefits of having a real Christmas tree. Plus, a new pill hits the market aimed at treating postpartum depression in women. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, the first pill to treat postpartum depression is now available in the U.S. Zurzuvae was approved by the FDA in August to help treat the 1 in 7 women who battle postpartum depression. The drug makers say it's available at specialty pharmacies and can also be shipped directly to patients. But it comes with a hefty price tag, nearly $16,000 per course before insurance. Well, could real Christmas trees be good for your mental health? New research from West Virginia University suggests the holiday tradition can reduce stress and mental fatigue by putting people in touch with nature. Reporter Natalie Brand has the details from Virginia.
I think we've got what we want somewhere back this way.
Searching high and low for the perfect Christmas tree is tradition for Penn and Elizabeth Agnew.
It gets me in the spirit. I love going out and looking for the trees.
Oh, I come up here and wander around because I do like to be in the trees.
Taking in the fresh pine, also therapeutic for Will and Sierra Patterson.
It's just the smell, and it lets you know Christmas is truly here.
I definitely feel myself being happier just seeing all the trees here.
It's not just imagined. A new study from West Virginia University suggests even shopping for a real tree can boost your mental health. Participants watch videos simulating shopping for real trees outside and fake trees inside. Researchers found the real tree experience helped people with mental fatigue and made them feel less irritable.
The biggest takeaway is that people like to go out to the natural world.
There's just been an enormous amount of research all documenting the health benefits of nature. Stop and smell the trees and look for the awe-inspiring aspects of nature.
The study's authors point to the Japanese practice of forest bathing, which has decades of research showing it can reduce stress, with levels of cortisol shown to drop after a walk in the forest, or in this case, an urban escape.
It just changes my whole attitude.
I love coming here every year just to see the trees, even if I'm not buying it, just to kind of just be in the environment for trees, right? So
it's kind of like a nature hike.
Right.
A possible remedy to relieve some of the stresses of the season. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Virginia.
The study's authors received funding from the Christmas Tree Promotion Board, but say the research was conducted completely independently. Well, if you consider yourself a morning person, you might get that from our ancient ancestors. New research has found early risers may have inherited genetic variants from Neanderthals. Species' circadian clocks often adapt to the light and dark cycles depending on the latitude where they live. Now, the study authors say Neanderthals had a faster body clock to match the changing light levels at higher latitudes in Europe and Asia. That made it more likely for them to rise early, which could be passed down to people today. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, the FDA investigates 3 companies linked to applesauce pouches contaminated with lead.
Plus, will the rain stick around into the weekend? We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a gloomy day, but we definitely need the rain, so we will take whatever we can get. It's been light across the region, but we have been getting on and off light showers all day long. It's wet, so be careful if you're going to be on the roadways. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, let's go outside. Look at our rainfall amounts. The heaviest of at least 1/4 of an inch when you get into the green out across our western counties. Everybody else has been below 1/4 of an inch so far, but we are going to see that those amounts going up as we go through the overnight hours. Bands of light showers continuing to work through, more persistent once you get into southwestern Missouri, and a little bit heavier where you see the yellows across the region. Let's go ahead and zoom in to the metro from Miami, Joplin, Carthage, Neosho up to Pittsburgh. Light showers a little bit heavier once you get into southern parts of Cherokee County, and then also into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Light showers, Iola, Chanute, Parsons, and then again along the I-49 corridor. So let's track south. You can see a pretty good batch really from Monette, Cassville, and then picking up a little bit once you get into northeastern Oklahoma over toward Grand Lake and Veneta. And this whole storm system, it's a little upper level low. It's going to pass by, but we have a secondary wave up across parts of Minnesota that will drop in tomorrow. So that could produce at least a few more showers as we go into Saturday afternoon. But the best rain chances by far are tonight, just kind of periods of showers through tomorrow and then start to taper off once we get into tomorrow afternoon. All right, let's go through time. Let's track the future. We're going to stop at 10 p.m. You can see those light showers across the region, a little bit more persistent in southwestern parts of Missouri. As we continue into the overnight hours, here's 2 o'clock in the morning, hit and miss light showers and drizzle. Let's go all the way into Saturday morning, 5:30 in the morning, some leftover showers on the Missouri side. But most of the morning for most of you is just going to be cloudy skies. As we get into the afternoon, that secondary wave drops in, so additional light showers, especially in southwestern parts of Missouri, and then all these are going to work out of here by the time we head into tomorrow evening. We clear out tomorrow night. Temperatures drop down to 30 in Chanute, 30 in Veneta, 31 in Neosho, and then as we get into sunshine, Sunday sunshine returns, but temperatures get back into the mid 50s for highs, and then we cool back down again as we go into Sunday. All right, additional rainfall amounts, very light, western counties, maybe upwards to 1/4 of an inch in southwestern parts of Missouri. Additional rain. Temperatures also cooling down into the 40s. It's going to be a chilly night tonight. You can definitely see that outside right now. It's sitting at 48. Southerly winds at about 5 to 10. As you go outside this evening, if you are, just be careful on the roadways. But temperatures, they're not going to drop off too much more for us tonight. 47 tomorrow, 55 on Sunday. Cooler Monday, a high of only 45. Back to 50 Tuesday. Rain chances really start to sneak in, especially as we get into late next week, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Dreaming of a white Christmas, maybe a wet one. We had a white Christmas last year.
Not quite the same thing, a white Christmas and a wet Christmas.
That's very true.
It usually turns into a muddy Christmas.
There you go.
Then. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up, how shipping companies are dealing with the rush of packages ahead of Christmas. Topping today's Consumer Watch, an outbreak of lead poisoning tied to pouches of cinnamon applesauce for children is under investigation, and one official says it could have been intentional. The FDA is looking at 3 brands, Guanabana, Weiss, and Schnucks, all made in Ecuador. Recalls of the pouches began in late October. As Meg Oliver reports, the CDC now reports at least 125 cases of possible lead poisoning across 22 states.
I never thought in a million years that my son would be a lead poisoned child.
Sarah and Ricky Callahan learned that their son Rudy had lead poisoning during a routine exam in August, shortly after his first birthday. They say it took months of testing their home, water supply, and their own blood for answers before determining what they alleged to be the source, Guanabana brand cinnamon applesauce pouches. The Callahans are now suing the company for damages.
To realize that those were the culprit, I think anger was very much our initial response.
Wanabana is one of 3 companies the FDA has identified as having cinnamon applesauce products tainted with lead. In an interview with Politico, an FDA's official said it could be an intentional act on the part of someone in the supply chain. The FDA is still investigating several theories behind the contamination.
The FDA isn't struggling, it's failing when it comes to environmental contaminants in general.
Dr. Leonardo Trusande is the director of the NYU Langone Center for the Investigation of Environmental Hazards. He told us this about the effects of lead in children.
Key connections in the brain that are crucial for attention and learning are disrupted. And the effects are therefore permanent and lifelong.
Challenges like those are exactly what the Callahans are worried about for their 15-month-old son.
We've identified a little bit of a speech delay, and we're working to correct that.
It's not something that's going to go away tomorrow. This is something that will be with my son for the rest of his life.
Meg Oliver, CBS News.
Well, CBS News reached out to Wanabana for comment, including on the Callahans' lawsuit, and has not heard back. Weiss and Chinooks were also contacted, but there's been no response from them either. With Christmas just a little more than a week away, the time to ship your gifts is now. About 82 million packages a day will be shipped during this month's peak. The packages come in by truck and by plane, get sorted by zip code, and loaded into giant shipping containers for an airplane out of town, all in less than 4 hours. Captain Chad Gerber is an assistant chief pilot for UPS.
It is a joy to take packages from A to B and get them underneath the Christmas tree at the right time, in the right place.
The cutoff for 3-day shipping is Tuesday, and next day shipping is Thursday. Well, Americans surprised economists with their spending in November. According to a report from the Commerce Department, retail sales rebounded in November 0.3% after declining in October. Economists had expected another drop, and excluding sales at gasoline stations, retail sales rose by an even stronger 0.6% last month. Well, last week's unemployment benefit claims are the lowest in nearly 2 months, meaning fewer Americans are filing for the financial aid. The Department of Labor released data saying 202,000 people filed initial claims for unemployment insurance. That's about 20,000 less than economists expected and 19,000 less than the week before. Final check of your forecast is next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, Steve Hartman goes on the road to Phoenix, where he found a group of kids spreading joy and so much more. Then on KOAM News at 6, we'll have more last-minute Christmas gift ideas. Plus, a Knoll, Missouri resident says she's left to deal with the mess of a septic line connected to the now closed Tyson plant. And it's a rivalry match in Parsons as the Vikings host Labette County. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Well, this cute little dog, Mutton, is revealing ancient secrets about an extinct breed. Scientists studied his pelt, which is being housed at the Smithsonian Institute. This breed, known as woolly dogs, were raised by the women of the Coast Salish tribal nations in the Pacific Northwest. Researchers say they were shorn like sheep to make blankets and textiles. The last woolly dog disappeared around the end of the 19th century. Fitting that we have a woolly dog story because that wool could have been used to create ugly Christmas sweaters, which is today's day. National Ugly
Well, I know you wanted to do the sweater thing, but
he said no.
Because I don't own an ugly sweater.
Right. Final weather?
Yep. On and off showers continue for us tonight, and still we're going to have a few hit and miss showers tomorrow morning, and then again a few more popping up tomorrow afternoon. Cooler high of 47.
Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6, and we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better weekend.